What's up, guys? So this video is going to be on China. Excuse the beard, still waiting for barbershops to open up. Um, I feel like this is the perfect time to do it. I've been on China for a while, and if you've been on my page, you'll know that I post a lot of stuff that's not really positive about China. So baseline is nothing against Chinese people or anything like that, throwing it out there. This is only to do with the government. And I'm gonna give some goods and mostly bads. So let's start off with the good. Hey, they were in 1970s completely destroyed, dying of famine. Millions of people died in famine. The Communist Party bought them back out of, bought all of China out of poverty. They're prosperous. They have more savings than us. And, that's the good that they've done. Now, the bad that they've done is a lot of people don't hear about this. Or maybe you heard about it from some of your friends that, pay attention and stuff. It's, when it's like, the Communist Party is God. That's it. And if you go against them, you're done. It's not like here, even, say what you want about the protest or whatever in America, but you have the right and the ability to say what you want. And we're not going to just go and throw you in a concentration camp. And we're not going to just come out and assassinate you or kill you. Yeah, you might be arrested, for, rioting or breaking windows, but that doesn't mean we're going to take you away for the rest of your life, right? And China, totally different animal. They don't tolerate anything that goes against the party in any way, shape, or form. So to start off with, one of the reasons why, let's start humanely, why I'm not really all about their regime. If you're a Muslim in that country currently, and almost any religion, I believe that is banned in that country, and they will go ahead and throw you in a concentration camp or re-education camp or whatever. They're harvesting those people's organs. Usually if you have like a kidney or something that you need, you have to get on a list and go the right way. Well, over there, you pay, you get to play. I think there was an article out that we just stopped a train that was loaded with hair from China. And it was like straight Holocaust stuff, man. Like literally the Nazi playbook is what they're doing over there right now. But that's the humane level. Okay, level number 2 is the economic level. What China's doing right now is they want to buy influence in the world. They want to have complete control. And that's why right now, whether you love them or hate them, I am a huge Trump supporter in this area. We're not going to talk about anything else. I'm just talking about in this area. And I would be a huge supporter if Joe Biden, got elected and said, hey, we're going to go after China. And, we're going to tax them. We're going to, make them play fair. And we're going to put pressure on them, political pressure on them to get the regime to change their habits. It doesn't matter to me who's elected or whatever. It's just, in my lifetime so far, Trump's been the hardest on them. Now, China's very smart. They're not dumb. Side of me respects the freaking living hell out of them. And I'll also show you a bias of our own fault, how we kind of do what they're doing a little bit. But the way they handle their business, I don't agree with. So they're playing the long game, right? Xi Jinping is elected forever, for long as he wants. Trump, so what? He gets another 4 years, he's out of here. We'll get somebody else in, right? Or if we get Biden in, okay, he stays for another 8 years. Okay, we'll get somebody else in. Every 4 years, this country goes to elect a new president. Usually they 2 terms, so usually every 8 years we have a huge political shift at the top of the snakehead kind of thing, But every 2 years in this country, we change 1/3 of Congress and Senate seats. And it's a beautiful thing to watch, right? So if we don't like something, we're like, oh, shit, I'm not going to vote the other way now, buddy. And it keeps this balance. China just has to wait us out. They got a plan laid out where they're going to go full steam ahead. They're not going to stop. They know what they want. They know how they're going to get there. And they're not playing this 4-year or 2-year political game that politicians here play. They don't care about the short term. They got the long-term vision. So they're just going to sit back and say, okay, well, Trump applies pressure. We're going to go ahead and just wait it out. And once someone else gets in, the pressure will be off and we'll be back up to doing what we want to do. So what is it that they do? You always hear about they're manipulating their currency. All right, what the hell does that mean to an average citizen? What does that mean to me and you? It means freaking a lot. I mean, that's one of the reasons why we have been, just dismantled here in the Midwest of the country. You want to know why those people voted for Trump? They voted for Trump because their jobs got shipped overseas. China makes the opioids and sells it back. They have been killing Americans far greater numbers than anyone else. Why? every single home in the Midwest, when you have a husband that used to provide and even a woman that used to provide, and they lose their job, it spirals. You spiral out of control. You feel worthless. You don't feel like you're worth a damn. You can't get a job. You can't provide for your family. So of course you resort to drugs. We've seen it in every single minority community across the United States, and white people are no different. And what I mean by minority, I'm talking about the socioeconomic minority, right? Like poor people. If poor people can't see a future, of course they're going to turn to drugs. And that's when the opioid problem caused it. And China is the one making the opioids, and they are also taking the jobs away from all of middle America. And as an economist, I'm like, okay, let them do that, and we'll find something better to do, and we will. But this gap of people that are in the ages of 35 to 45 years old there, and they're working prime, you're not going to get them to, you're not going to teach them how to computer program, man. They need to, you know what I mean? They know how to work with their hands. The generation below, we could focus on that. So even with that economic gap, it takes time to fix things. So how did they steal the jobs? Like, what do you, okay, so back to the main point about the currency manipulation. When you print currency and you spend money, right, your currency theoretically goes down. America's been able to have a scapegoat here with that because they have a chokehold on the whole world because we are the reserve currency of the world. So people always need dollars, but they don't really need pesos. They don't really need rupees. They don't really need yen. They don't really need the RMB. So what China does is they'll produce all our stuff at a cheap rate because they got cheap labor, right? And then they'll sell it to us. You know, all these companies, those taxes and everything will come back in. Well, usually when you got a bunch of euros and yen and rupees and American dollars and the Canadians and pesos all coming in, it'd make your currency worth more because you got more of everyone else's pie, and therefore your currency would be worth more, correct? Okay, that's basic. So, but what they do to manipulate this is they say, oh shit, our dollar's starting to go up. They will just print more of their money and they will buy more debt of other countries, or they'll disperse it out, or they'll just print it and hold it for a rainy day, or print it and then they'll spend it. Like on the Silk Road, they're trying to do. They'll go to Africa, they'll go to Pakistan, they'll buy favors from people. They'll build their roads, they'll build their infrastructure, and they'll get those UNCs to influence. And at the same time, what does this do? Why do they want to do that? Well, they do this because when their currency falls, and they're doing it purposely, making it fall, labor stays cheap in their markets. And now they can only control it so much without destroying stuff. And you're starting to see more people go to Vietnam, more people go to Malaysia. But for the mass majority of production is still coming out of China. So by them artificially printing money and bringing their price down, they're able to keep the labor cheap. They're able to keep people employed, and they're making a lot of Asian, some like the top Asian people, extremely rich, but the regular people not really. But at the same time, that overproduction also leads to overconsumption. So everyone feels like they have a better life, and for the most part, they do. They're doing what's best in their country. That's why I'm saying I'm not trying to. They are very smart, but at the same time, what does that do to us? Well, that definitely prices an American out of the labor market. So if I was going to open a company to sell, make iPhone cords or something, I would still go to China and do it than go here to do it. Now, there's a bunch of other factors like government regulations and whatnot, but on the labor market, that's what they're doing when they're manipulating their currency. So what do they want? And that's like the biggest question I have to ask is, what do they want? Are they really so like up here in the head, like we know right and the world knows wrong, so we're going to push our views and we're going to be, like they're so like egotistical in that sense, or psychopathic in that sense? I don't know, but I do know is America's in their way. And I do know that America is not going anywhere anytime soon. But my prediction is if things keep going the way they do, there's only going to be two major world powers. Europe is not one of them. Europe will be divided up because they already are. They already gave up their sovereignty when they made the EU. They don't really have the power to independently make moves. Britain kind of does now. They realized it, but it's going to be two major players in the world. There's going to be China that rules with an iron fist, all on the East Asian side, like all of it, all from China, India, Pakistan, and then cut Europe like in half. They'll take up the Russian bloc and stuff. Then you have America. We'll have all of Canada, South America, and then meet right at that borderline of Europe. It's bad because I feel that even if we gave up all rights and powers and gave the Chinese government everything, you wouldn't have real true freedom. You just wouldn't. You wouldn't be able to say and think what you want. You wouldn't be able to be creative, and you definitely wouldn't be able to speak out against them. And you got to decide for yourself if that's something that you're okay with. Me personally, I'm not. I mean, money aside, I have nieces, nephews. I plan to have a family one day. I plan to have kids. I want them to grow up in a world where they feel like they could express themselves. They have a chance to get their viewpoints out, and ultimately they could pursue happiness without fear of persecution. And I think the Chinese regime is extremely dangerous. And they have also buying up influence all over left and right. And a lot of people don't realize it. And then this is why, I lean more Republican if you want to get political. It's because regulations stop people like me and you from ever having a chance to create something. And billionaires are Democrats because they want more regulation. They claim that they'll pay more in taxes, but they don't care because it keeps you from ever getting up ahead. To a certain extent. I don't think everyone thinks like that, but looking down on the paper, that's what it is. So basically, China says, hey, you want us to help your campaign, or you want us to let you sell your product in our country? Okay, you got to do this for us. You got to push this narrative for us. And we've seen it with the NBA. We've seen it with Google, and they backtrack. And basically, they have a chokehold on us because they know Americans are greedy, man. All we care about is the bottom dollar. And it's going to take some patriotic people to stand up and say, screw that dollar, bro. We're going to speak out and say, that's not right, and we don't want your business. And I understand 1.3 billion people is a lot. But last time I checked, there's still 8 billion people on this earth. If you could still sell to 3 billion people, you'll still be way better off. And you still got to keep your soul. So what China does is they say, okay, if you want to sell here, you got to do these things. You can't speak out against us. We want you to help us lobby. We want you to help us do these things to improve China's image and China's position in the world. And Americans are selling out their own country. They're selling out their own country, and they're saying, okay, yeah, we'll bend the knee to that, because at the end of the day, the elites will get saved, and that's one thing that people don't realize is, like, power will always come up to the top. Like, even if we destroy capitalism, let's say we said, screw it, we're going to destroy capitalism, we're going to make this into a socialistic state where you pay 80% in taxes, you can keep 20%, but the government will pay for all housing, government will pay for all cars, government will pay for all healthcare. There's still going to be someone on top that's controlling how the money gets spread or whatever, and they get the power. So instead of, anybody else having a chance to make a company and getting a horse in the race and creating something for themselves, the only way you'll be able to succeed in this country is if you become a politician. And that's kind of how it is in China. So if you're not a part of the Communist Party, you'll never be able to get past a business license or pass any type of reform or anything that you want that might benefit you as far as your business is concerned, your family is concerned, or whatever. But I want to touch on one last point. It's a quick video. They're all quick. They're 15 minutes, right? So China does have a policy where it's like the social program, and John Oliver did a pretty good thing about this, where they face scan people and you can report the citizen next to you. And if that person gets enough complaints, their score drops. So they won't be able to take bus fare. They'll have to pay more in loans. They'll have to pay more in tuition fees for their kids, all this kind of stuff, right? And I was like, well, we have that too. It's called the credit system. The credit system has kept down minority populations since it was established. You know what I mean? So it's like we want to point the finger at them, but I admit America still has a lot of its own problems, but I don't think we're anywhere close to the level that China is. So these are my views on them. And I don't think China is going to change anytime soon, because when you do something bad and you get rewarded for it, you don't have an incentive to change. And they are continuing to be agents and provocateurs around the world for bad, in the sense of, we're going to do what we want. We don't care if your rights get trampled on. We're right, you're wrong. And they're getting rewarded because, money's coming in. So why would they ever change? So whoever our next president is, I just hope we continue to put pressure on them. And I hope we continue to help those people that are actually suffering in China, that don't have a voice, that are locked up. So that's my view on China, man. I'm 110% for America, getting them to change their views and their perspective. Hey, I hope you learned something from this, and please do your own research, Google it yourself, and fact check me if you want. I'm more than happy to come back on and say, hey guys, I made a mistake on X, Y, and Z, but this is just my experience and my reading and my knowledge. And nothing against Chinese people. I don't like the government. That's why I post a lot of Chinese stuff. Please share this with at least one friend. Help me grow the page. Have a good Friday.